Gadenmore Velmesh Makulan, originally compiled by the foundational workings of the Druid design of the occult world, as it filtered down to the world of known Druidism, Temple of the Dragon, and social Druidism. Magic is the energy that is created by the aura that is bombarded by the sun, moons, or Earth's magnetic fields that collect frequencies and also transmits by way of electricity and ionization that allows focus and psychic awareness, that allows us to tap into the human soul, the ethereal, or allow us to become present in the connection to deitism. It is a tool which has no mind of its own, no direct will of its own, but is supported by our consciousness. As we begin to expand and grow, it becomes a multiple device that taps into the events and things around us, short of a summoning. Truly, it is a part of our soul, but it is an unharnessed part. Those who harness it gain the tools of the sun and moon, but in a mystical fashion, and the collective being, anything that touches on the nature of magic as a skill. The Temple of the Dragon model is the Welsh understanding of the red dragon, and the social Druidism is the white one. The dragon's true design is green, and the social is supposed to be blue or grayish. Each of the below is a ritual, and is an explanation of the faith of a druid in action. If the initiation is good, they'll be and do good. They don't rely on faith. So even if the faith is bad, if the initiation is good, they'll be good. The laws, the stone, and the nature of the universe is not to break the laws of others while trying to answer their problems. The laws is the conduct. The stone, to reveal to them the necessary information and never to make it personal. The stone is how far we will take the conduct. Nature of the universe, if drawn to act quickly and do not choose sides. The nature of the universe will do that. The nature of the harmony that seeks the balances of all things. The nature of the universe is why we must respect the laws of the conduct. The cultural laws of Odinkin. The Odinkin is the acknowledgement of the beginning of Druidism. Odin and kin is the idea of the word kindred or family as an ancient. The cultural laws of the Odinkin is the 15 tenets of the Druid, which are really a list of 25. Transitional messages and mythos sayings. A Druid is responsible for one's own self. Helping another or harming another is not one's responsibility. They serve the sun, the moon, water, and air. To work any ritual is to be adopted by it. Adoption means you give up all rights for the nature of choice, and you serve as it sets you to action. As for the mythos, Druids are held by no religion or any belief system. They are not held together by faith. Druids are not held to help or deity owned. The meeting truths of Druidism in witchery, the adoption of the first calling circle opening. The meeting truths of Druidism in witchery is the adoption of the first calling. It is to be known that she who is the holder of the first blade is granted to authority of adoption, for she will be named the mistresses, aka Druidess. For where in her right and birth will she not be seen and held by witchery fashion to the rules of the first calling circle? For her who are among the blades shall rule. Circle closing, integration of magic, magical tools, consecration of sword or menket. A sword is a sword, the long blade double-edged weapon, Menket is a dagger, but can also be a circle-shaped hatchet. For the ritual of consecration, closing circle integration means to dig in and complete finally. Consecration is the preparation of the tools. Some like to draw inked or dawn symbols on the sword or menket. This can add magic or just consider it a more visible example. However, if you wish to consecrate or an object inking it is proper. However, it is more ceremonial rather than making is more permanent as a fashion statement. A sword is supposed to be wiped from the tip to the hilt, then turned over and done the same on the other side. Done with a rose water oil or roses with salt in water. Let it drip dry. Same with the menket. The symbolism is a Norse symbol design that spells power. You can use any symbolism you want, but that is normal. The old way would be a phrase that leads up to the word power, as an example, in the respect of power. Power here meaning a form of binding. Any form of initiation is considered a form of adoption. Menket means rule. Consecrating other working tools being brought in, as in foundling, charge to new initiates. What one does is called the foundling. Whenever you consecrate a tool to work within another tool, you take sawdust or a version of clear dust, kind of a covering version, like red brick, and sprinkle it all over the tool. That gives you the ability to use that second tool as the first tool now. We also do this for the charge to the new initiates. There's two ways. Take the sawdust, draw the first Norse symbol you think of. This becomes their keynote and right to enter. And if they are a true initiate, then that symbol will begin to appear in their life a lot more. If not, they aren't staying true to their work. Norse symbolism is used because Druid symbolism doesn't exist as a system. There's just 3 basic swirls, because we don't want anyone stealing our information. When you stand before them, draw that symbol and it becomes their birthright into the order, and it is done only if they are to be a part of the grand design, not just if they are to be initiated. It is the difference of joining the alphabet itself and being just a word. The second way is to stand before the druidess, and she, in respect, names them. The entrance ritual of faith. The ritual, Caesar himself witnessed once, is the entrance of giving back. 3 ways of doing it. First is to take from a river a small amount of water and spray it on the nearest tree. And on the tree, write the Norse symbol, best representing its future growth. The second is dig with a dagger on a patch of grass and write the symbol Rainu and watch as it returns to its former state of growth. The third is done in air. Stand before a fire pit and within the smoke draw with either a stick or dagger the symbol of truth. If you own a sword, you can stab it into the ground and draw it on the blade. This endears you to the water, earth, and air. The exit of the soul ritual. This is the green placemat I have. This is where the foundation of all my magic will come together. It's basically the placemat. Legend of the Forest Priestess of Shamel is a story. It's about how the symbol known as a swirl came to be a part of the Druid way of life. The male Druid version had no definitive symbol. It was this female priestess that cemented the symbol as central. Merlin was curious about the witch's potential within the Druid art because he knew the story about the forest priestess. The woodland ritual of the sun's and moon's return. This is where the modern Druid design got it wrong as far as Stonehenge is concerned. The idea of the woodland ritual is to feed off the energy of the gateway of the moon or sun being between two trees. The goal of the design of to put one rune symbol on one side and another on the other side, the way out, and to stand in between and let it reflect on your aura. The moon must be full and the sun must be shining. Doesn't matter what time. The two symbols are the same in and out. They don't change. The Pandin Gadenmore Cultural Days of Event, the Druid Scim, is a mini version of the Gadenmore itself. It's a series of cultural ritual days that one can take or leave, but they're supposed to increase the power of the Druid Scim. The days are listed below. The word tandem means broken by right, in what allowed Merlin to create a shortcut version. The word Pandin is pronounced Padden, P-A-D-E-N. Each event must play out if one wants the full power of the Druid Scim. The Veils, the 11th, is the Darkness Veil. They are all advanced levels of thoughts that must be played out in full during the day. The woodland ritual prepares one for that power. It allows one to see through things a lot faster. The higher design of the Druid, the Arch Abbot, is the ability to feel the pain and the healing nature of the world and act on it. Witch's Tower and its eyes respects of the fated goddess, the Wishing Well. This is the use of tarot cards within the Druid design, like a version of the Oracle. What the Druid does is draw one card, which is the fortune. What happens next is the next person draws the next card, and so forth. The idea is that it starts out as singular. Drawing the moon does not mean the moon in full, but that it is part of the future event. One is to question the card that comes next. Druids worship nothing, but holds respect for separate deities. The fated goddess is the moon goddess. Druids evolves every 5 years after their work and has the chance to advance. More tools, more freedom, more chance to interact in events. The Wishing Well is twofold in its fashion, two properties. First is whenever a druid passes a fountain, he has to toss monetary object into it or anything considered valuable to another. The purpose is to give back to water and air. Second is, and try not to pass this on to outsiders, that during the dark times of the battle, that when a druid captured a not so nice individual who was fond of ill respect, the dark design of the druid design created a sleeping potion and then hanged them inside the well, not to kill, but to imprison them inside the well. And then left it up to fate if they got out or not. The Bridge of the Blades and Ribbon. It's a ritual. It's when all three blades come together. Daggers are what druids use now, but first it was swords. These swords were believed to be the guardians of the earth, the 13 corners of the earth, which was attributed to the 12-day calendar, which was in use at the time. On the 13th of the day, they let the three eldest come together and let their swords touching at the tip form an upward triangle. This meant that they were in charge of that piece of land, which they called the Bridge of Blades, meaning each group devoted themselves to their piece of land as they performed the ritual. The ritual came forth where the owner of the original Swirl's sword came up from the idea of being a protector. When something became troublesome,